All right. I want to thank everyone for joining us here today. Today is the official first anniversary of Citizen Action of Wisconsin organizing in the Driftless area. Thank you everyone for everything you've done. Today we're going to be going over some of the victories we've had and laying out a plan for the next year. Really quick, I'm sure that we're all used to Zoom at this point, but we do want to make sure that you are muted when you're not speaking. All of our presenters today will be taking questions. We do ask that you feed those questions through the chat panel. You can see the chat panel there down on the bottom of your screen, and the mute and unmute button as well. A quick reminder, who is Citizen Action of Wisconsin? Citizen Action of Wisconsin is a member-led and member-funded issue organizing group working to create a grassroots movement across Wisconsin. Citizen Action of Wisconsin is devoted to racial equity, fighting climate change, expanding healthcare, and guaranteeing free and fair elections. We do this through our local issue campaigns and through our electoral work. We believe that change is created from the bottom up. We are committed to creating change on the local, state, and federal level. We build our power by helping our members become activist leaders in their community, and by helping our members win election to local and state office so that we know that our representatives are committed to our values and goals. Related to our mission of empowerment, education, and advocacy, Citizen Action of Wisconsin would like to acknowledge that the land that we are on today is the original homeland of the Dakota Sioux, the Ho-Chunk, the Menominee, the Ojibwe, the Potawatomi, and the Fox and Sauk tribal nations, as well as many more native peoples who were driven into Wisconsin after Europeans colonized North America. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this territory. We honor and respect the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to the land on which we gather today. Citizen Action of Wisconsin also recognizes the painful history of systemic racism in America. We acknowledge the struggle of persons of color today. America was built on the backs of slaves, and we strive to create a better America that is just and equitable for all Americans. Whether we are white, black, Asian, Latino, indigenous, or newcomer, we deserve a fair economy and equal justice. Citizen Action of Wisconsin stands with Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and every other person of color who has suffered senseless violence at the hands of police in America. The only way all lives can matter is when Black lives matter. Before we get started here, we do want to say thank you to our partner organizations who have helped us throughout this year. The Driftless Voter Coalition, Cooley Progressives, the UU Fellowship of Lacrosse, the Sierra Club of Lacrosse, Cooley Democratic Socialists, Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, SCIU Healthcare Wisconsin, Wisconsin Conservation Voters, LIT Milwaukee, IBEW Local 14 in Western Wisconsin, and Opportunity Wisconsin. During the town hall, each presenter will answer questions after they speak. Please submit your questions for any presenter via the chat function on Zoom. You can also text your questions to 608-386-2847. A link to a recording of tonight's town hall will be emailed to you along with links to how to get more involved with Citizen Action of Wisconsin. Really quick, we want to go through the agenda for today. We're going to be hearing from Kathy Allen about the passage of a clean energy resolution in La Crosse County. We're going to be hearing from Lewis Coleman about the Medicare for All resolution that passed in La Crosse County. We're going to be hearing from Shannon O'Connor about our healthcare story collection program. Kevin Kane will be giving us important updates about our green home upgrade program. Amy Dummer will be telling us about the Stand Against Medical Debt earlier this month. There will be a video from Kate Beaton talking about the La Crosse voter expansion project. Joella Streibel will be talking about the Citizen Action of Wisconsin endorsement process. Joanna Batch will be talking about the Movement Politics program. We will see a video from Josephine James, Citizen Action endorsed candidate. We'll be hearing from Joni Anderson, another Citizen Action of Wisconsin endorsed candidate. We will be going over the newly released Citizen Action of Wisconsin demands regarding Black Lives Matter. We'll be talking about the formation of a social media team. We'll be talking about the formation of a rural issue team. We'll be talking about a recruitment drive, which we are launching as soon as this call is over. Then there will be an interactive poll and a small group breakout session to talk about today's meeting. First of all, I'd like to start with a video from Kate Beaton with League Wisconsin Conservation Voters.
Hello, I'm Kate Beaton. I am the Western organizer for Wisconsin Conservation Voters. I'm a member of the Eau Claire City Council, and I am a member of the of Citizen Action, the Western Wisconsin Cooperative. I have been working with Ben Wilson, the organizer for the Southwest Wisconsin Citizen Action Co-op organizer. And he and I have been working on a lot of projects this summer. One of them being a really important project to expand voters' options in the city of La Crosse to vote during the COVID-19 pandemic. As we know, voting is really important this year, extremely important, maybe the most important year of our lives. And yet it's harder than it ever has been to vote because of COVID-19. In April, we saw people being disenfranchised like never before as they tried to vote but couldn't because of the global pandemic. And what we've been trying to do in the city of La Crosse is drive the city clerk and the city mayor and the city council to make some decisions to make voting a little bit easier. We have been working with the city clerk and the mayor on adding additional drop boxes to allow people to drop off their ballot rather than sending it through the mail. As we know, the U.S. Postal Service has been under threat right now, and there's some concern that our ballots won't make it back to the clerk. And so it's really important that we have drop boxes available for people to drop off their ballot. It's important that those drop boxes are accessible to people too, right? And so we're looking at adding additional drop boxes in northern and southern La Crosse at the very least to make those drop boxes more accessible. We've also been working with the clerk and the mayor and asking them to make plans to recruit poll workers. We've been asking them to make plans to do drive-through voting and early voting and expanding their early voting operation. Just all the different ways that people can vote early to avoid long lines at the polls on election day that can be really dangerous for people. What we've been doing with the clerk and the mayor has been incredible, but really it was only possible because of the incredible support from members of Wisconsin conservation voters and members of Citizen Action, along with the Driftless Voter Coalition, the League of Women Voters, Planned Parenthood, Next Gen, and the Unitarians in the La Crosse area. Together as a coalition of voter enfranchisement organizations, our members sent 78 emails to the city clerk and the mayor, asking them to ensure that the voters of the La Crosse area are safe. That's incredible. As a local elected myself, 78 emails about one topic is virtually unprecedented. And so we're surely getting their attention, but the fight isn't over yet. And so we'll have to continue to keep pushing to ensure for a safe vote. More than anything else, we need to make sure that people know how to vote, know what their options are, and that they feel motivated to vote. And so that's really where you come in as well, to talk to your friends and family about how important it is to be voting this year, however you can. Lastly, I just wanted to say thanks to Citizen Action and to Ben Wilson. I feel so proud to be a part of an organization that takes on issues like this, and I feel so proud to support them with my money as a member, and so I hope that you will continue to do that as well. So thanks a lot for all of you, and hope to see you soon.
All right. So next up, we are going to be hearing from Kathy Allen, about the passage of a resolution on the La Crosse County Board to commit to 100% clean renewable energy by 2050. Kathy, are you ready to go?
I am. Can everybody hear me? Okay, my computer decided to crap out, so I'm doing this on my phone for the first time ever. Apologies if it's weird. Just some background on how I kind of got into working on this resolution. I'm a member of the Sierra Club, and the Sierra Club has a nationwide campaign called Ready for 100. It came out of their Beyond Coal campaigns when people were like, well, if you want us to go beyond coal, what's next? And so the Ready for 100 campaign focuses on helping governments everywhere at every level transition away from fossil fuels to clean renewable energy in an effort both to address the climate crisis and also, air, water pollution, many other environmental issues. It's a national campaign, but each campaign team is able to tailor it to their locality, so there's some independence there. Our team started by working with the Sustainable La Crosse Commission here in La Crosse, which was a joint city and county commission. We were meeting with them and kind of working on some draft language, and we were very fortunate to have Citizen Action member Louis Kuhlman working for the city as a planner, and so he helped us draft a resolution for the city level that passed the Sustainable La Crosse Commission, made it through some other committees, and then it was passed by the La Crosse City Council last July, which was fantastic. Our plan then was to go to the county next to try and get them to pass a similar resolution. We were working with the Sustainable La Crosse Commission again and experienced some delays there. With a joint commission, it was very hard to get everyone together. We had a draft for the county, but we had some delays with the Sustainable La Crosse Commission. And then around April of this year, that commission actually broke up. And around that same time, Kate Beaton, who you just heard from, reached out to me because she knew we had been working on this and offered to help kind of push it through. And we thought, since Citizen Action is working on this, Green Homes and Good Jobs initiative locally, that we could get them on board too. So we looped in Ben. And we also talked with some folks from Next Gen Wisconsin. I reached out to my own county board member. If you're from the La Crosse area, you probably know Maureen Friedland, and kind of asked how we should move forward now that this committee was dissolved. And we kind of decided as a team that it would be a good idea to reach out to Monica Cruz, who's the chair of the La Crosse County Board and also conveniently happens to be a Citizen Action Co-op member. So we talked with her about how to proceed. She was very interested and thinks that the environment is a very important issue for the county to deal with. And so she was willing to work with County Administrator Steve O'Malley on getting a good draft of a resolution that we could bring to the county board. So she worked with Steve, and Maureen Friedland helped out as well to draft something, and we approved of it. And it ended up going to the planning and, let me get this right, it's the Planning, Resources, and Development Committee of the county board. There was a lot of discussion. There were some amendments suggested. And before that, we had actually started to kind of gather public support. So we had then set up a form, an online form, where people could submit emails to the county board members. Kate set up a petition. We had a Sierra Club petition as well. And so with all of those efforts, we ended up with just over 160 petition signatures. And we had 51 people send emails, and each email form sent 19 emails. So it was a very ridiculous number of emails that went to the county board. And once we had all those connections made, things kind of went really fast. It passed the planning committee. The week after that, I went to the executive committee where I delivered our petition signatures. it passed that. And then the week after that, it went to the county board. And there was some discussion and a few amendments that really, kind of improved it. And then it passed the county board unanimously as well. So that is in place. The county officially has goals to transition to 100% clean renewable energy and to be carbon neutral by 2050. And now, though, that's not the end. Now the hard work starts. Now we all have to follow up and make sure that both the county and the city are actually working towards those goals. So we need to really stay on top and offer any help we can. I think overall, while we experienced some delays that were kind of frustrating, the process really was not that difficult. Once we made those right connections, and it was pretty easy to get in touch with our local representatives, and they were very willing to work with us. So if anyone is interested in doing something like this in their county or their city, I would recommend it, and we would be happy to help you along the way. Ben has my contact information. If anyone is interested, feel free to reach out. I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Kathy. And I do want to thank you for everything you did with this program, Kathy. And I do want to point out to folks, we have a lot of people on this call from Vernon, Dane, Crawford, Adams County. And you're going to be hearing about the work we've done in La Crosse County. The reason that matters to you is we can replicate these processes across Southwest Wisconsin. That's what's really exciting about the work we're doing. We now have infrastructure to build a voter expansion project, or a Medicare for All resolution, or a clean energy resolution all across Southwest Wisconsin. So thank you, Kathy, for everything you've done. All right, next up, we are gonna be hearing from Lewis about the passage of a Medicare for All resolution on the La Crosse County Board. Lewis, are you there?
Yep, I can start talking.
All right.
So yeah, I've become interested in Medicare for All and single payer healthcare, a little over a decade ago, and had begun also around that time starting my journey towards becoming an urban planner. So sort of combining my two interests, this Medicare for All resolution campaign was really something that I felt was a strength for me. So the Medicare for All resolution is a nationwide campaign through Public Citizen, and they have a lot of really helpful tools. But I'd say thanks to the engaged and enthusiastic supporters in Citizen Action, I really found the encouragement that I needed to take this on. And also, I'd say Ben's organizing skills were definitely a huge support that I needed to get through this process. So even though these were, some things I thought were my strengths, it was still nice to have this broader support. So I came up with a strategy that included approaching the health department. Typically these resolutions go through cities, but since the city doesn't have a health department and the county does, I thought that would be an easier approach. So we looked at who was on the Health and Human Services Board and what districts they were in, and really with a smaller working group took on an outreach campaign to call and email these board members on their interest in Medicare for All. So once we got a sponsor and got a lot of support on the Health and Human Services Board, we felt like it was a good time to go ahead. Also, we were at a bit of a crunch because I was sort of backcasting a goal to get it passed by the county board before the summer primary in August. So having that deadline really helped, light a fire under the process. So we were able to pass it through the Health and Human Services Board unanimously for a few, and then after that, we had a full-blown sort of campaign to get the whole county board behind it. So with Ben's help, he set up an email system where we were able to contact where Citizen Action members were able to contact or sent 96 messages to all the county board members, which is amazing. So again, I'm really appreciative of your all's support and Ben's leadership there. But this is just one step in the process. Medicare for All isn't a campaign at the county level. It's intended to be a pressure campaign to get our elected officials at the national level to support Medicare for All. So our next steps are in the Wisconsin's 3rd District. Ron Kine probably won't be campaigning a lot about Medicare for All or he probably will be avoiding talking about Medicare for All until after the election. So in the meantime, I'm definitely willing to work with other counties throughout the state and especially in the 3rd District to get these resolutions passed and put more pressure on our elected officials in both the House of Representatives and the Senate to support and sponsor Medicare for All. And this is another really great reason to be involved with Citizen Action, just because of the wider network that we have available to us. So yeah, I'll take any questions from you guys, and I really appreciate your support and look forward to working with other counties and within our own co-op in the future.
All right, looks like we don't have any questions right now, Louis. Thank you so much for everything you did. You were instrumental to this campaign. And I know that the Eau Claire Co-op is looking to you for a little bit of leadership as well. I know that they're planning to launch a similar Medicare for All resolution as well. All right, next we are going to hear from Shannon O'Connor about Citizen Action's healthcare story collection program. And I'm just going to pull up the slide here. 1 second. All right, Shannon, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so thank you, Ben, for having me here today. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. So I'm Shannon. I am the Story Bank organizer for Citizen Action of Wisconsin, and I've spent the last couple of months, basically the whole summer, collecting medical and financial / COVID-19 stories from people all over the state of Wisconsin. So story banking is basically collecting stories to put them in a bank to have at the ready for use when advocating or campaigning for different issues like the preservation of the Affordable Care Act and expansion of Badger Care and Medicare and Medicaid, which is something big that Citizen Action of Wisconsin has been pushing for. So why do it? I mean, why would you want to share your story? Well, personal and individual stories are more effective than just saying we need to do A or we need to do B. And personal stories also take hold much easier than statistics and achievements. So a lot of people think that they don't have a story when they actually do. So sometimes it's something as simple as getting like a surprise or overpriced bill. Maybe they have some sort of medical condition or had some kind of procedure or a non-chronic condition that only lasted like a short amount of time. Sometimes it's something with dealing with insurance companies. Maybe you worked in the health field and have seen why people need better insurance and why we need more options. So if you've done any of those things, feel free to reach out to me. The next slide has some information on how to contact me, and I'll drop that also in the chat so everyone can see it if you feel like you have a story to share. So I wanted to share this example story with you. It's one that's very near and dear to my heart because it's about a family friend and my aunt. And it's an extreme story. I don't know if people have started reading it, but like I said, it doesn't have to your story doesn't have to be something this extreme. It can be something as simple as an overpriced bill or something like that. So right before Thanksgiving of 2018, my aunt's best friend had what doctors thought was a stroke, and she wasn't getting any better. And when she started getting worse, she was brought to the ER again in Milwaukee by my Aunt Jenny. And doctors there said that they could treat her and do a brain scan, but because it wasn't an emergency, her insurance wouldn't cover it. And it actually turned out that she had brain cancer, and her insurance didn't want to cover everything. And she also had type 2 diabetes, so she needed that insurance to pay for her insulin. And because her insurance wasn't covering all of her cancer treatments and not enough of her insulin, she was actually rationing her insulin, which is something that can be very, very dangerous. I actually have type 1 diabetes myself, so I've experienced it, and it's scary, and that's not something that I ever want anyone else to have to deal with. So even though she had that insurance through her job, she couldn't afford her treatments. And so her friends and family decided to move her back to Sweden, where she was originally from, so that she could pass away and get treatment without having to accrue hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt that she would then saddle her family with. So if you want to reach out to me, here's my email and cell phone number. I'm also going to drop it in the chat in case you want to just copy and paste it if that's easier. So feel free to email me or call me or text me at any time. I am literally always on my phone. I'm one of those people. So if you want to reach out, feel free to, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. And I did see someone mention that they had a story. So if they want to reach out, Robin, feel free to. I'm here. So thank you for coming today, and thank you for listening to me speak. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Shannon. And everyone, there will be a video or an email going out on Monday with links, with email addresses and contact information for all of our presenters. And Shannon's contact information will be included in that. Shannon, I do apologize. I didn't mean to advance that last slide so quickly. All right, so next we are going to be hearing from Citizen Action of Wisconsin Co-op Director Kevin Kane, and we're going to be hearing about the Green Home Upgrade Program. Kevin, you can take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this is wonderful to be able to come full circle after doing this work for over a year in the area of trying to figure out how to make change in the Driftless region of Wisconsin. So one of the earliest projects Citizen Action actually been working on in the Driftless region as we were exploring launching the organizing co-op that you are all now members and supporters of, had been an evolution of issues that we learned directly from people on the ground. Last summer, we held a series of listening sessions all over the region and heard over and over again concern about the issues of flooding, of the impact on small towns like Gaze Mills and Rock Bridge. Some of them had to literally pick up and move, that were partially underwater or had suffered all sorts of damage. We heard a belief that right here, right in southwestern Wisconsin, was the front lines of climate change, that these storms and floods were getting worse, that the once in 100 years was seeming to come every few years. So our members dug into how to help fight climate change and to rebuild stronger into these communities. We heard concerns of people saying that their children and grandchildren were moving up and leaving, and then what was being built here. What we learned was that according to climate experts, the biggest way to fight climate change was that we should be working to upgrade homes to be energy efficient and an even bigger carbon impact than making every vehicle on the road electric. And now, while we have to do all of it to fight climate change, we thought, could we occupy a space of screaming from the rooftops that we could help push to make homes energy efficient? So our campaign began to push banks and utilities to pay for those deep upgrades that pay for themselves. They lower utility bills, they cut carbon emissions, and they create jobs in the area. We built partnerships with unions like the Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the Building and Construction Trades Council of Western Wisconsin, contractors like Olson Solar, and we learned from energy auditor experts on what worked in this community, while also deepening relationship with allies like Sierra Club to push banks to act. You already heard Kathy talk about that. Over the last year, we went from having one bank agreeing to pay for these deep home upgrades to now we have 6 banks paying for it. Our Driftless and Southwest Co-op members called emailed, sent letters, and met with banks back when we still could go and visit them to convince banks like Merchants Bank in Onalaska and Oregon Community Bank in small town Dane County too for the first time to offer these green home upgrade programs. And soon, thanks to you, Ultra Federal Credit Union says that they too will start to do so in the very near future. But we also know that not everyone can benefit from this program. And historically, banks have not been as kind to people in rural communities, people of color, and or to moderate income families. So we looked for the most inclusive way to upgrade homes. And by pushing utility companies to do so, we know that we can help renters, farms, and small businesses as well as homeowners. This has been taking place across the nation, but hadn't been taking place here. In fact, this morning, the Vernon Electric Co-op, which covers all of Vernon, much of Vernon County and chunks of La Crosse County and even parts of Crawford County, held their annual member meeting where members and allies of ours went and thanked them for agreeing to our ask to create an inclusive green building upgrade program known as on-bill financing. This will be the first Wisconsin utility to do so. In the coming months, we'll be learning how they'll help people regardless of income or credit score do the right thing for their pocketbook, the planet, and the residential construction workers too. We are building a coalition of advocates, workers, homeowners, and financial institutions to do right by the planet. All of this is possible because of your organizing. We will help to continue to get more banks, more credit unions, and more utilities, whether it's Excel or the Richland Rural Electric Co-op or Riverland or any of them, to pay for upgrades to our homes that fight climate change and rebuild the Driftless. Thank you guys all for being there, and we're going to continue pushing it. Back to you, Ben.
Kevin, we do have a question from Karen Fishbach. Has anyone spoken with Summit Credit Union in Madison to see if they would be willing to offer low-cost loans to members to finance energy upgrades and solar panels?
Awesome question. We have spoken to Summit Credit Union's senior loan mortgage director about this. And what we have been hearing is that there is no reason why banks or credit unions can't do this program. It's something they can just pick up and do. What we've been hearing is that some of them say that they're not looking to launch new programs right now. What that tells us is that they need to hear about this more and more and more. Summit Credit Union, for example, helped identify ways that we can help people now who don't have mortgages, or maybe who've lived in their house for more than 10 years. So in those scenarios, yes, we can work with Summit Credit Union, but it is not the same thing as the green mortgage program that we have been doing, so that helps people who literally may have bought their house last week or who are thinking about buying a house, much like I did. I was able to get solar and other upgrades through programs like this. So we need to continue to push them. And if you have a line of communication to your financial institution, let's talk to them. Let's see if we can keep reminding them till they get the idea.
Kevin, another question quick. Can you explain to folks how, thanks to the historic low interest rates, someone could actually refinance their home, get the energy efficiency upgrades, and actually see a smaller mortgage payment than what they're seeing now while adding value to their home? Can you explain that really quick?
Absolutely. So the program that we have convinced these banks to do is when a house is purchased or refinanced, the bank will put in more money that can only be spent on energy efficiency and renewable upgrades. Because of all the federal efforts to fight COVID and to shore up the housing market between the Fed, Federal Reserve, and Congress, we are now in the moment of the lowest mortgage interest rates ever in modern recorded history, which means that about 8 out of 10 people who have a mortgage, we can put solar on their house, or we can help them identify what other things that they can do. So if you know people who have a mortgage who might want to look into this, we want to do the math for them. In fact, we have a new online form where people can submit a little bit about their home, and we can tell them pretty much right away what they're likely to save. And between the savings from the lower interest that they're refinancing and the savings on their utility bill from these upgrades, the vast majority of people that we're helping are saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year and doing the right thing by the planet. It's an amazing time.
We have another question. Has Excel Energy signed on to the green program yet?
Awesome question. Unfortunately, not yet. They are doing other work that they consider green, and you can do other work with them as well. We have been most interested in the most inclusive way to upgrade homes, which we are told is called on-bill financing, where the utility pays for upgrading and then splits the savings with you on your utility bill. So anybody can do it, even renters. They are not yet doing so. And so our belief is that by convincing more and more utilities, the small ones, the rural electric co-ops, to do so, and working with local elected officials, we can leverage change to convincing large institutions to act. We've already brought it to the attention of state legislators and the Evers administration, and continuing to see more small ones do it, we can believe we can push the Excels of the world to do the same.
Okay, and last question from Karen. Who could I talk to about this to see if I could get a loan to put solar on my farm? That would be you, correct, Kevin?
That would be correct. I will put my information in the comment section, but then Ben also mentioned he will share all of our info to all of you later, I think Monday, you said.
Yep. And Joni, I just see your question about if Lewis has an outline for the steps on the Medicare for All. I will, if it's all right with Lewis, I will send an email introduction between you and Lewis later today. I think you've met in person at an event or two before, but I'll send an email introduction between the two of you after today's meeting, okay? All right, so next up, thank you all. Thank you, Kevin, for all your hard work, helping to fight climate change, create jobs, and save people money here in the Driftless region and across the state. All right, next we are going to be hearing from Amy Dummer about the Stand Against Medical Debt. Amy, are you online?
I am online. Let me try to do my screen share here. Let's see. All right, can we see that okay?
Yep.
And can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
All right. Super, that seems to be the two things that don't always happen when I try to do this. All right, let's get rid of that. So, hi everybody, I'm Amy Dummer. I am a member of Citizen Action as well as the Healthcare Workers Union rep and organizer with SEIU Healthcare Wisconsin here in La Crosse. So the Stand Against Medical Debt was organized by Citizen Action Wisconsin, or Southwest Wisconsin Collaborative, and with SEIU. The event itself took place on Sunday, August 2nd in the afternoon at Polk Park. The campaign was started by my predecessor, Erin Karsten at SEIU. She had been talking with union members at Gunderson, where we represent workers, and they were telling her that Gunderson was taking their own employees to collections and even garnishing the wages of their employees over medical debt incurred there at their work. And I do want to say that by no means is this particular to just Gunderson. It is unfortunately happening across our state and nationwide that medical debt is a huge issue. So we started to dig into this on the national level. Kaiser Family Foundation and the New York Times have done like ongoing surveys and reports. And it says that medical debt, generally the biggest reason for medical debt is like a one-time catastrophic event, but also there's quite a bit of medical debt still from chronic illnesses as well. And I do want to say that medical debt is a very unique form of debt in that it's not just like somebody went out and bought a large screen TV that they couldn't afford, or I just went and bought 5 pairs of shoes, like designer shoes I couldn't afford. I mean, medical debt is something people don't necessarily choose. You know, nobody chooses to have a stroke and nobody chooses to have an autoimmune disease or anything like that. So that's why it's very different from other forms of debt. So we were talking about the Kaiser Family Foundation and the New York Times. Their 2014 study found that 1 in 4 US adults had problems paying medical bills. And that by 2016, the follow-up study found that that had already increased to 2 in 5 adults. Medical debt is being reported as the current leading cause of bankruptcy in the US. And another effect that is catastrophic from medical debt is it leaves people not wanting to go seek healthcare because they don't want to accrue more debt. So we started to look at this on a local level at this point. And in 2018, just in La Crosse County, because when we tried to run the numbers for everywhere in the state of Wisconsin that Gunderson had taken people to collections, the system actually timed out. So just in La Crosse County, we found that Gunderson had 328 cases that they took to collections for $721,000. 81 of those cases were for less than $1,000. 177 cases total in La Crosse County where they garnished the wages of our neighbors and community members for $550,000, and 31 cases where they garnished the wages of their own employees for $75,000 total. So I know not everybody loves numbers as much as I do, but now we'll look at within the same year, Gunderson reported a surplus of $117 million. The garnished wages of their employees, that's $75,000, is 0.06% of that surplus.
Wow.
Their CEO compensation that year was just over $1 million. Again, that $75,000 is 7% of their CEO compensation. And let's not forget that Gunderson is a nonprofit hospital. So we had the event, like we said, on Sunday, August 2nd, and we had speakers, union members from SEIU, as well as community members. On the left, that's Christina Elsey. She's a union member, worker at Gunderson. And on the right, that's Tracy Littlejohn. She is a member of the Ho-Chunk Nation and a community leader and activist. And they both told their stories about how medical debt has affected them and their families. And we also heard testimonial anonymously how medical debt specifically targets our Black, Indigenous, and friends of color because of systemic racism.
Amy, your audio cut out.
Member Bob Troy, and this is Citizen Action member John Dowes, Citizen Action member Joella Streibel, members Chris Haskell and Dave Doley, and this is a live shot, or an action shot, sorry, of our member Carla Pena actively protesting medical debt in front of Gunderson. And I know that there were more of you there. I apologize, I don't have pictures of everyone. But we really appreciate the support in all of this. So we have a petition to Gunderson, and this has 3 demands. Cease suing our community members and your employees for medical debt, forgive existing medical debt, and provide your employees with affordable health insurance coverage. This is the link to the petition, which I know you can't do anything with right now. But we will provide this to you. If you haven't yet signed the petition, we do ask you to do that. And like I said, this is an ongoing campaign. And so our next steps are going to be to continue to gather petition signatures. As Shannon was saying, gathering medical debt stories from the community, because I gave you all those numbers, which are good, but at a certain point, people kind of gloss over numbers. But personal stories really make a difference when you hear about the impact of medical debt. We are setting up a meeting with Gunderson, and we're going to continue to put pressure on our elected officials to stand with us against medical debt. So thank you everyone for your time, and we can move to questions and comments.
Amy,
Yeah.
Go ahead. James Bingham asks, is it true that medical debt isn't waived through one declares bankruptcy?
Is it true that medical debt isn't waived when one declares bankruptcy?
I don't know the answer to that, actually. I can find that out.
Okay. Jane also asks, does Gunderson sell the debts to collection agencies or does it pursue legal action on its own?
Okay. Jane also asks,
What we saw when we looked at the cases on the online like civil court documents, it looks like Gunderson takes care of it themselves.
Okay. And Karen Fishbach asks, how would other people help with this effort?
Right now, I would say get in touch with me. And like I said, we were specifically going after Gunderson because that's where we have members. But Mayo definitely does this too. And and we know that there's hospitals across the state that do this. So we can start talking to employees in other hospitals and getting them to stand up against this practice. I'll also put my info in here.
Okay. And then we do have some clarifying answers from Joella. She says the medical debt is forgiven in bankruptcy unless unless it has been changed within the past couple of years. Robin says bankruptcy often depends on your income and what type of bankruptcy is filed. One last question from Joni Anderson. If medical debt is sold and it is on bankruptcy, you just need to show that it was included in your bank. So yes, medical debt is included in bankruptcy. All right. Thank you, Amy. I'm going to put you back on. Okay, you're on mute. And next, we are going to be hearing from Joella Steibel about the Citizen Action of Wisconsin local endorsement team. Joella, are you ready?
I am. Thank you, Ben. My name is, it's actually Streibel, it's pronounced, but even my own mom gets it wrong, so no worries. But yeah, I'm Joella Streibel. I'm a Citizen Action member. I'm also Northwest organizer with Our Wisconsin Revolution. I think we might have some people who aren't muted. I'm hearing some feedback, so if everyone can mute, that would be helpful. But yeah, I had the opportunity to volunteer over the summer with the endorsement team for Citizen Action, and it was a really cool process to be a part of. Basically, Citizen Action starts that process by researching the races that are on the ballot and then reaching out to candidates who they may want to pursue for possible endorsement. And then when candidates respond with interest, Joanna, who you'll hear from in a little bit, follows up with them with a questionnaire. Basically, the questionnaire is pretty comprehensive. It goes over some information about Citizen Action of Wisconsin and the platform and policies, and it asks candidates to rate their agreement with the Citizen Action platform on a scale of 1 to 10, and then provide any comments that they have about the platform or about the various policies. And then the endorsement panel gets the opportunity to review their responses on that questionnaire. And then the candidate gets scheduled for a panel interview. We did that virtually this year via Zoom due to COVID. And basically the candidate has the opportunity to introduce themselves and talk about their campaign. And then the volunteers on the endorsement team that sit on that panel get to ask questions of the candidate. So some of the questions that we asked this year were about healthcare policy, fair maps, agriculture, criminal justice reform, cannabis legalization, environmental policy. And each candidate that we interview is asked the same slate of questions. So the candidates engage in that interview process with us. And then once they have completed that, sometimes there's some additional follow-up questions. And then the panel votes on whether to endorse or recommend endorsement for that candidate. Some of the things that we look for were congruence with the Citizen Action platform. You know, were they on board with Citizen Action endorsed policies and platform? Viability of the campaign, you know, so if it appeared to have a really solid campaign structure and a good plan for winning. And then we, at least the team that we were working with this year, really favored what I'll describe as authentic personalities. And so what I mean when I say that is that I think we all kind of know a very polished politician when we see one. And we were just generally much more drawn to people who seemed like real people rather than kind of career politician types. And then ultimately, the board of Citizen Action has the final say on whether or not to endorse. They occasionally opt not to endorse in a race for various reasons. And from there, you know, the candidates get some additional support if they're endorsed. But it was a really interesting process for me to be a part of. And I was grateful for the opportunity, not just to get to meet some candidates. It's not every day that you actually get to sit down and ask a question to a candidate and hear them answer right on the spot, which was kind of a cool experience, but just also getting to know some of the other folks that were involved in that process. And several of them are on this call today. So it was a really cool opportunity to engage with candidates, kind of be a part of that process, and then also just get to know other activists and organizers in the community. I think that's about all I have, unless I missed anything that Ben or anyone wants to add, or if there were any questions.
All right, looks like we don't have any questions. Thank you, Joella. Thank you everyone who's on the call, who was on our endorsement team. I think most of the endorsement team is on the call. All right, so next up, we are going to be hearing from Joanna. Joanna is our Citizen Action of Wisconsin Movement Politics Director. She is on the phone. She will be telling us what is movement politics. Joanna, are you ready?
I'm ready. Hi, Ben, and hi, Driftless Co-op. It's so nice to be on with y'all. I'm so sorry I'm having tech issues and I can't be on video, but I am on the phone with y'all and happy to be here. And so excited to celebrate your 1-year anniversary. This is amazing. You know, I started with the organization back in December, so this co-op has existed longer than I've been with Citizen Action. And I've seen so much amazing work come out of the Driftless area. You know, like Joella was speaking about our endorsement process. I'm just so grateful for all the work you all did, for the co-op, for the steering committee. It was a lot of work. We had a lot of great candidates. And we got through it, and I couldn't have done it without y'all. So like Ben said, my name is Joanna. I'm the Movement Politics Director with Citizen Action. I use the She series, and I'm based here in Milwaukee. And so, yeah, just talking a little bit about what is movement politics. So movement politics is, I'm going to give you some examples. It's easy for me to give examples and give some sort of definition, but like, movement politics runs on people power, right? Primarily small dollar donations, whereas like business as usual politics, what we're seeing a lot around the country and with our current presidential administration is running on money, runs on money power, right? Including corporate money, right? So that's an example. Another example of movement politics is a campaign that's built from the bottom up, right? Grassroots structure. And then business as usual politics is top-down bureaucratic structures, right? Like, so those are a couple of examples of what I mean by movement politics. So here in Wisconsin and at Citizen Action of Wisconsin, we're tired of business as usual politics, right? It isn't working for everyday people, for working class people, for people like you and I across the state, right? And so our movement politics program is working to develop and prepare and support new political leaders from the base of our people's-based organization, right? So you all, folks that are in our co-ops, folks that we see every day in our community, doing work for their friends and for their neighbors so that we can all live in a better Wisconsin, so that we all have opportunities to thrive, not just survive, right? So we should all be able to live a life with security and purpose, right? Prosperity and joy. We need to generate a new politics to win and wield the power to govern. A politics that is people-centered and focused on changing structures of inequality, right? Like I said, we are tired of business as usual politics. And so one of the ways we can do this is by investing in our people. Investing in our people, in current and emerging leaders within our people's organization, within our co-op, who show the desire and values of being a movement leader within the political sector, right? We're working to move our movement leaders into elected office to run powerful campaigns that are people supported, right? We are fighting for a democracy where people, not corporations, set the agenda and where we all have a voice. And so this is required for all of you to be hands-on, on deck, getting this work done, right? If you're not the movement leader, but you know somebody that is, right? Your neighbor, your friend, somebody that you saw get active in this November election, right? In this 2020 chaos that we're living in, who did you see active? Who did you see go the extra mile? We're looking for folks like that to go through our movement politics program because that's the type of elected leader we need. We need elected leaders that are going to focus on community, focus on people, and not corporations and large dollars. So that's just a little bit of my passion behind movement politics. If y'all have any questions, please ask me. I can't see the chat, so don't put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, connect with Ben and get my contact information. I'd love to talk more about what this program is and what it means to citizen action and what it can do for Wisconsin. Thank you.
Joanna, I have a quick question for you. Obviously, we are deep in the 2020 election cycle right now, but if there's someone on this call who's interested in running for school board or city council in 2021, when do they want to get started? When do they want to talk to you?
You want to get started now, absolutely right now, right? Movement politics is building out elected leaders for the future, right? I was just having a conversation with Ben this week, and I said, you know what, I'm so over November. We are on to 2021. We are on to the spring election. So let's get active. Let's have a conversation and figure out what we need to do. The time is now. And
you absolutely encourage anyone who's never held office, who wants to get involved, right?
Absolutely. You know, I myself just ran for office, right? I ran in our August 11th primary in a tough primary. And I ran on my movement leader values, right? I ran on a people powered campaign. And unfortunately I wasn't successful, but we were super close in a district where I was born and raised and grew up in, but I didn't have any real name credit, right? And also it's a pandemic, so it was pretty wild. But yes, we are encouraging movement leaders to run, to challenge the status quo, because like I keep saying, we are so tired of business as usual. It's not enough for us.
And folks, not only if you yourself are thinking about running, if you know someone who's a progressive who's thinking about running, we want to talk to them. We'd like them obviously to become a member of Citizen Action, but we'd like to get them involved in the movement politics program. Joanna, can you just mention real quick some of the trainings that have been going on for our movement politics candidates?
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to echo what you just said, Ben. Maybe you know somebody that is a movement leader, right? And maybe it's somebody that didn't say, I want to run for office. I want to be, a legislator, or I want to be a county supervisor, right? Maybe it's not somebody that said that, but it's somebody that you recognize has leadership skills and qualities and is down for the people, is down for community. And so it takes us, people that are, actively doing this work, to inspire people, right? To bring their leadership out of them, right? So, you recognize somebody, please pass on their information to Ben and I to reach out to have this conversation. If you can have it yourself, that's great. But if you don't feel comfortable, please, that's what we are here for. You guys make the connection, and we just keep the ball rolling, and we get all these amazing leaders running for elected office. So yeah, really quick to what Ben asked. Some of the trainings that sorry guys, it's kind of loud over here. So some of the trainings that we've already put on have been about our race class narrative, right? So there's this race class narrative research that's been done in the Midwest, and there's specific research to Wisconsin that does exactly what it says, tackles the conversation of race and class at the same time in the same narrative. We've had conversations on how to talk about healthcare for all and taking in those federal dollars that we deserve, that we should have been taken in a long time ago, right? So the trainings that we offer are to help folks that are interested in running for office or working on a campaign. I forgot to mention that. Movements politics is also about developing people that are interested in working on campaigns, right? We all know it can be difficult to come by a campaign manager, a volunteer coordinator, somebody to help with fundraising, right? Movement politics develops those leaders too. You don't just have to be the person that wants to run for office, because you can't run for office alone. We need a team. And so, the trainings we put on help bring the information and the tools that you need to deliver our progressive values, our progressive platform. Like I said, healthcare for all. Kevin and I are going to be working on a Green New Deal training coming up. So it's ongoing, the development and the trainings that we're going to be offering.
We've got one question and one comment. Jane Swigum just wanted to point out it would be helpful if the trainings were outside of the 9 to 5 weekday times. I think that's something we're working on, isn't it, Joanna?
Absolutely, Jane. We want to be able to provide all types of trainings with various times. Like I said, it's ongoing, and the development is ongoing. And please continue with the feedback so that we can keep making a program that's going to work for regular people.
Okay. And Robin asks, what would I need to do to be eligible to run for local office?
Want to do it?
No, she asks,
I think,
what would she need to do in order to be eligible to run for local office?
I think it depends on the seat that you're interested in running in. So if you want, we could have a conversation like that offline. I think there's different requirements. There are different requirements for the different seats, right? We have school board, county supervisor, assembly, state senate.
Okay. And Robin, Joanna's information will be in the email that's going to be going out on Monday. All right, guys. Thank you, Joanna. I am going to share my screen here again. We have a video from one of our endorsed candidates, Josephine Janes. 1 second here. All right, and this is from our recently endorsed candidate, Josephine Janes, for Wisconsin's 96th Assembly District. The 96th is a winnable district, a flippable district, and one thing I do want to point out about Josephine, when we did our endorsement interview, Joella gave the most amazing comment. Joella said, I'm 40, but I want to be like Josephine when I grow up. Josephine's an 18-year-old candidate. So I want to point that out. All right, here's Josephine. Whoop. Sorry, just kidding.
Hello, my name is Josephine Janes and I'm running for the 96th Assembly seat in Southwest Wisconsin. This November, I'm looking to flip this seat blue for the first time since the 1960s, and I'm looking forward to being the first female to ever represent this district. That may sound like a daunting task, but I know how to accomplish firsts and overcome barriers. I'm already the youngest candidate to win a primary in the state of Wisconsin. And while that may sound impressive, I didn't run to be the first. I didn't run to be the youngest. I ran because I know the people and the issues of this district, and I know how to reach across party lines and bring people with me as I push for better representation from this area. My opponent is the same guy we've been talking about for decades. A middle-aged white farmer that is a really nice guy. I'm not another nice guy. I'm different, and I bring fresh perspectives and new ideas that will better represent what this district is about and who we are. When I went to Madison as a Senate scholar and spent a week in the state legislature watching legislators work and learning how bills are crafted, I was looking down from the gallery and I was trying to spot my representative. I had a hard time spotting him. Do you know why? Because he looked like all the other legislators next to him. Where's the representation for my generation? I will bring a new voice to the legislature, and I will represent all of my constituents. But this race is not just about who I am. It's about the issues impacting southwestern Wisconsin. My district is made up of about 54,000 people, with the largest city being less than 6,000 people. Most of the communities in my district have a population of less than 1,000 people. My district is very rural, and I understand the issues that are impacting my rural district. Constant flooding. My district in particular has seen 100 or 500-year floods every 2 years since at least 2007. We have a state aid formula for education that doesn't fully fund our rural schools. A housing shortage that makes it nearly impossible for my constituents to find quality, affordable housing. That in turn makes it hard for employers to locate here. We have a farm crisis that is once again being caused by a federal ag policy that says, get big or get out. There's a lack of affordable daycare and a lack of health care that forces people to choose too often between basic living expenses and their health. In this next election, we will not only be deciding our future leaders, but also the future of our democracy. We have lots of work to do, and I would encourage all of you to do what you can this year. We have a big fight ahead of us, but we're ready. With the help of Ben and all of you incredible people with Citizen Action, I was able to spread my message of hope and resiliency to my voters and defeat an older agriculture candidate. And I can do that again. It is organizations like Citizen Action that are helping candidates like me and that are fighting for these issues that impact our rural communities that will help flip this district and hopefully the whole Wisconsin legislature blue in November. Thank you for all your help, and please vote this November.
Unfortunately, Josephine could not join us today. She is at a campaign event. But just so you know, again, when the email goes out on Monday, there will be links to get involved with Josephine's campaign. As somebody that works with Josephine really closely, she's an amazing candidate and an amazing person. She has my full support, and I look forward to next January, her being my representative in the legislature. All right, and so we are also going to hear from another one of our candidates, Joni Anderson. And before I hand it over to Joni, I want to say Joni is an amazing volunteer. Every time there is a call to action, every time there is a petition, every time we are asking anything, Joni is one of the first ones to sign up. Joni cares about progressive politics. She's dedicated to healthcare for all, Medicare for all. She is an amazing candidate, and she's going to do great in the state Senate. So Joni, are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Ben. Okay. First off, I'd like to thank Citizen Action for all the assistance and support they have given me so far in my campaign for Senate 14. I'd further like to thank the members as well as the staff for believing that my campaign was important enough to endorse. So first, why am I running? First and foremost, for the people. In the last 10 to 12 years, I have watched union and workers' rights diminish, not only in Wisconsin, but throughout the nation. In Wisconsin, Act 10, right to work, prevailing wage, civil service, no raise in minimum wage, a healthcare system that is not only broken, but unaffordable to many and also inaccessible to many. Year-round affordable housing, energy bills skyrocketing, corporations becoming richer, the people poorer. In our environment, our water, our air, our wildlife, our state and national park system under attack, our public lands being sold to the highest bidder, pipelines, mines, logging. Our dairy farmers, get bigger, get out. Our roads, much like our democracy, crumbling. There are so many reasons why a person needs to become involved. Now, while I can't tackle everything, I hope to see a time in Wisconsin again where all people can belong to a union, where all people have health care, where all people make a living wage of $15 an hour, including our dairy farmers, where we have nonpartisan redistricting, where voting is made easier for people rather than more difficult, in Wisconsin are parks and public schools funded. Where we have medical and recreational marijuana legalized and the decriminalization of a simple possession done, so that we no longer have the need to build prison after prison after prison, public, private, and juvenile centers. Instead of being the state with the most nonviolent offenders and continuing to target Black and brown individuals, we can see this figure continue. Instead of seeing this figure to continue to spiral up, we can see it begin to decline. By taking this money and putting it into community programs for drug and alcohol and mental health services, by spending our money on public services rather than private, by assisting with basic needs of the people rather than buying the votes of the big corporations, this is what I hope to accomplish for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Joni. And we do have a quick question from Robin. She says, I know that Josephine is not in her voting district, sadly. She lives in Mount Horeb. Joni, does your voting district cover Mount Horeb?
Don't believe so.
But Robin can still get involved. Do you want to tell her how she can still get involved in your campaign?
Yeah, she can, I'm sure my contact information will be out there, but I'm doing postcards and going to be doing some phone banking, and you do not have to live in my district to become involved. I'm running a grassroots campaign. Anybody who wants to, I encourage them to become involved in my campaign.
All right. She says that she would love to get involved. And just like Joni said, her information, her website, and her contact information will be going out co-op-wide in that email on Monday. Thank you so much, Joni. All right. And next up, I'm going to share my screen again, and we are going to be talking about a very relevant topic for this week. We're all heartbroken by what happened in Kenosha this week. We're going to be talking about Citizen Action of Wisconsin's statewide demands regarding Black Lives Matter. We have some key demands that all of our co-ops are going to be making of the governor very soon. Demand 1, take meaningful steps to end the system of mass incarceration and biased policing, and instead invest in harm reduction, restorative justice, both mental and physical health, and other social supports which reduce the role of police in our community. This should include the Wisconsin African American Civic Engagement Roundtable's proposals to shift resources away from police and towards community and public health. Follow up on the campaign commitment Governor Evers made in 2018 by supporting Wisdom and Expo's goal of ending mass incarceration, and take meaningful steps to reduce the incarceration rate by half by 2022 and create alternatives to prisons for offenders. End police immunity for racial violence by eliminating qualified immunity, creating an independent prosecution section in the Department of Justice so that conflicts of interest between local DAs and police do not stand in the way of justice, and the elimination of special rights for police not also held by other public employees. Require police who patrol Black and brown communities also live in those specific communities to create a real stake for those charged with protecting public safety. If you are unwilling to live in the communities you police, you should not carry life and death powers over their residents. We will be setting up statewide campaigns to pressure Governor Evers and others in Madison to respond to these calls for action. Be on the lookout very soon for a website to generate automatic emails to the governor, and we'll have other calls to action very soon. Keep an eye on social media posts and emails. And Robin from our field team says that we've been sending out mass emails, calls, and rapid response for this. We've created a list of ideas for our member supporters to get involved. This is what the field team's been working on this week. This week has been hard. It really has been. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to organize this meeting. There's work to be done right here in Wisconsin, and we can't ignore it. All right, next up, I wanna talk about something really specific that we are gonna be forming here. We want to form a rural and agriculture issue team here in Southwest Wisconsin. Citizen Action wants to form a local issue team to address rural and agricultural issues. We want this team to help us create campaigns to address the unique struggles faced by rural progressive voters. We need to bridge the urban-rural divide and let rural progressive voters know that they matter. We're looking for 5 to 10 members to join our rural and agriculture team to help us create campaigns. Team members will be asked to meet virtually once a month to help us create campaigns which will bring attention to rural issues across the state. And Amy Dummer, our superstar volunteer, already says that she's in. All right. Now, really quickly, I'd like to go over some things about social media. We all know that during quarantine, how we organize has changed. A lot of how we build power has changed. To that goal, we recently did set up a Facebook page specifically for our co-op. We still have the Facebook group, and I'd like to just mention what the difference between a Facebook group and a page is. A group, anyone in the group can post to, but they can't share content out of it. A Facebook page, you can easily share content out into the greater world. So we created a Facebook page to get people engaged in sharing content out. And just really quickly, I'd like to show people how to like, follow, and always see our Facebook posts. If you want to grab your phone and do this while we're walking through it, that's absolutely fine. You'll see on the screen there, I circled the magnifying glass icon. You want to click on that. Once you click on that, you want to type in Citizen Action of Wisconsin Driftless. You're going to see our Driftless co-op page. Right under that, you're also going to see our group. I encourage you to join both. Make sure that you click the little thumbs up icon so you like the page. Here where we see another page, I used Upworthy because my phone displays the Citizen Action of Wisconsin Driftless page differently. So you want to click the thumbs up button so that you like the page. But liking a page doesn't always mean you're going to see all the content from that page. To see everything, you're going to want to click these three dots, and then you're going to want to click following. And then follow settings is going to bring this up, and in your news feed, you're going to click where it's circled here and it says default. And then you want to set it as your favorites. Once you set it as your favorites, you're always going to see every post, and you don't need to rely on the Facebook algorithm to show you what we have going on. Set it as your favorites, and that way you will always see all content. I try to post at least 1 to 2 things to the Facebook page a day, and those things are meant to be shared out wide. And the reason for that is not just so that you and your friends and family can see it, but the more people that interact with a page by liking, by commenting, or by sharing, the more visible the original post is. Amy might like the Citizen Action of Wisconsin Facebook page, but she's not going to see all the posts from it. But the more times it gets shared, the more the algorithm rewards that, the more often Amy will see those posts. We are looking to create a social media team, an actual action team, to help spread our word on social media. It's so important right now, especially with all the petitions and calls to action and everything else that we're sharing on social media. Team members will be asked to like and share content from the Driftless Co-op Facebook page. Team members will receive a Facebook notification asking them to like and share a piece of content. Normally, I will just tag them in the comments. The more likes and shares the content gets, the more people who see it. Shares even make the post more visible to people you are not connected with on Facebook. We're looking for 10 to 15 members willing to join our social media team. And I do apologize. I know that many of you are not on Facebook. I know I am well aware of the privacy concerns of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. And I don't want to pressure anyone to join Facebook because of this co-op. But if you're already on there, this is an easy way to help get our word out, help support our candidates, help support our causes, and help create change. Before I move on, I just want to check the chat really quick. Jane says that she's in for joining the social media team. Carla, I will include the page and the group info on Monday. Robin says that social media is one of her specialties. And Jane is also interested in the rural team. We're going to have a poll, an interactive poll towards the end of the meeting where you can actually sign up for the meetings right inside this Zoom meeting. You can sign up for the special issue teams. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about our fall recruitment drive. We are going to be launching a recruitment drive this fall to build our membership. And the reason we want to build our membership is to build our power. We're launching a major recruitment drive starting on Monday. We're aiming for about 25 new members by the election. We're asking our current members to get involved with the recruitment drive so we can build our membership and build our power in Southwest Wisconsin. Why is it so important that we recruit now? To build a true urban-rural alliance, to bridge the divide between rural and urban voters, to confront the racism we see in Wisconsin's small towns and cities. To leverage that urban and rural power to demand our elected leaders pass a state budget next year that works for all Wisconsinites. A budget that fights climate change, expands healthcare, funds our schools, protects our water, and works for everyone in Wisconsin, regardless of the color of their skin or their zip code. To help us build power for elections in 2020 and beyond. To have a volunteer army ready to mobilize and activate voters. To identify, train, and activate candidates on the local, county, and state level through our Movement Politics program. And to send a message to conservative and moderate Democrats that we have a powerful base they need to listen to. Anecdotally, I will tell you guys right now, when we started organizing in La Crosse County, I couldn't get a county rep or a state legislator to answer any of my emails or calls. Thanks to the work we've done, you've done, the members have done. If I email Jill Billings, she responds. Steve Doyle is a member of our co-op. The mayor will sit down in meetings with us. We are building our power, and we need to build and recruit so that we can get our name out there, so that we have more power. The more of us stand together, the more power we have to create change. And the more areas in Southwest Wisconsin where we are mobilized, the more power we have in those areas. Fall 2020 recruitment drive. We're building an rural-urban alliance. We're going to fight to pass a people's budget. We're going to be electing progressives. And we're going to take the successes that we've had in La Crosse and replicate them in every community across Southwest Wisconsin. Together, we are building a powerful base of people who will stand up for the issues that matter to you, knowing that you will stand up for the issues that matter to them. That's what base building is, and that's what power building is, and that's what we are doing. Ways you can get involved with recruitment. You can host a virtual house meeting. It's really easy. Just set a date and a time. Invite 5 to 10 progressive friends or family members. We will run the meeting together with you and present the case for why those people should join you and become members of Citizen Action Wisconsin. Alternatively, you can introduce your co-op organizer, me, to friends and family members via email, text, chat, messenger. I will contact them and ask for a one-on-one socially distanced meeting. I will take care of doing the work and explaining what Citizen Action Wisconsin does and how they can get involved. One new way that we're exploring recruiting this time, and we're really excited about it, is we're asking friends and family members to make a one-time donation to Citizen Action of Wisconsin. Just explain the work that Citizen Action of Wisconsin has been doing. Share the one-time donation page with them via email, text, messenger, or social media. And I'll follow up with them, thanking them for donating and setting up a one-on-one meeting and build a relationship. And hopefully they become a regular dues-paying member of Citizen Action.